Hey guys, I'm Jessie, and today I have my anticipated February releases for you guys. I feel like I just did January releases, but that's because I did them super late in the month, so I really did just do January releases. So now we're here, not too long later, talking about the February releases. Thankfully, this one's more timely. It will come out before February. So I feel like I'm good. I'm ahead of the game. I'm doing better than I did last month. But yeah, I found quite a few books that I'm really excited about. There's some sequels, some new series, and I did manage to find one self-pub book that is coming out in February that sounds really cool. I kind of dug and looked for like February self-published releases, and I didn't really see anything at all. Like I couldn't find very much. So if you know of a better way to find like these self-published releases and when they're coming out, send that to me because I've just been kind of scouring the internet, looking through Goodreads. If you are a self-published author and you have a book coming out anytime in 2023, send me along like the name and like the release date. That way I can add it into my anticipated releases videos because I want to do like a self-pub and a trad pub like version. But at this time, I don't have enough self-published ones in order to really make an entire video. Like I have one for this month that I know of so far, and I can't make a whole video about one anticipated release book. But yeah, so if you know of any, if you are a self-published author, indie author, send me that information because I want to talk about more of those releases in videos as well this year. So I'm going to do this by release date. So we're going to start with February 7th, where there's a couple books coming out. The first of which is actually the self-published book, and that is called Eclipse, and it is by Herman Steuernagel. Hopefully I said that right. And this looks like it is a sci-fi, and I'm very excited because last year I got much more into sci-fi. I spent a good portion of like September and part of October reading just sci-fi and kind of discovering what I liked in sci-fi, what types of sci-fi books I like. So I'm really excited to read more, and this is self-published. Yeah, it says, Eclipse is the first novel in a new dystopian sci-fi adventure series, perfect for fans of Red Rising and The Expanse. So I haven't finished Red Rising. I liked the first book, and I really liked the first book of The Expanse. I've only read the first book of each series, but I liked them. So that's exciting. The synopsis says, the truth will cost them everything. Django had everything he wanted, and now he's lost it all. When he uncovered unexpected truths, he didn't know it would end the lives of nearly everyone he cares about. Left only with his sister, his best friend, and an uncle who has some unhinged ideas about what might exist outside of the space station Eclipse, he must follow the truth where it leads, even if it leaves him with nothing. Mika can't escape her dubious past and now must answer for her past sins. Though she had left that part of her life as a notorious space pirate behind to care for her ailing mother, the past comes knocking after her ship, the Redemption, answers a cryptic distress call. Forced to face a deal she made with the devil years ago, Mika has no choice but to step back into her old life and make another hesitant pact with an eccentric pirate. Django and Mika's paths collide as they embark on a journey that will shape the fate of civilization built on half-truths and on the backs of others. Rumors of civil war circulate through the Syndicate's orbital empire, catching both Django and Mika in the crossfire, where the stakes are far higher than they realize. Neither is prepared, neither is willing, but they will no longer be able to ignore the truth. That does sound really good. I love a dystopian, so the fact that it's like a dystopian in space, sold. And it's self-pub, so we gotta give it some love, right? The next book coming out on the 7th of February is Wild Blood, and this is by Lauren Blackwood. This one says, 18-year-old Victoria is a wild blood. Kidnapped at the age of 6 and manipulated by the Exotic Lands Touring Company, she's worked as a tour guide ever since with a team of fellow wild bloods who take turns using their magic to protect travelers in a Jamaican jungle teeming with ghostly monsters. When the boss denies Victoria an earned promotion to team leader in favor of Dean, her backstabbing ex, she's determined to prove herself. Her magic may be the most powerful on the team, but she's not the image the boss wants to send to their new client, Thorn, a renowned gold miner determined to reach an untouched gold supply deep in the jungle. Thorn is everything Victoria isn't. Confident, impossibly kind, and so handsome he leaves her speechless. And when he entrusts the mission to her, kindness turns to mutual respect, turns to affection, turns to love. But the jungle is treacherous, and between hypnotic river spirits, soul-devouring women that shed their skin like snakes, and her ex out for revenge, Victoria has to decide, is a promotion at a corrupt company what she really wants? That sounds really cool. And the cover is gorgeous. It reminds me of The River, which is this old show that I used to watch. It's not really that old, but probably like 10 years ago. And it was like a found footage film. I've talked about it before because there was another book coming out that like gave me those vibes. But just with like the kind of haunted jungle, I love that. All right, keeping with February 7th, we have 7 Faceless Saints. And this is by M.K. Law. This one says, discover what's lurking in the shadows in this dark fantasy debut with a murder mystery twist. Perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo and Carrie Maniscalco. In the city of Ombrasia, saints and their disciples rule with terrifying and unjust powers, playing favorites while the unfavored struggle to survive. I mean, I don't really need to read anymore. It sounds really cool. I think we're getting this in one of the book boxes by the sounds of it. So I'm really excited to see this one. It seems like it's got quite a bit of hype around it already. So this one just sounds really cool. Saints and disciples, and I love that kind of stuff. Anything that kind of mixes religion with fantasy. Also coming out on the 7th is These Infinite Threads by Tahara Mafi. This is the sequel to This Woven Kingdom. I actually read This Woven Kingdom last year, and I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. There were parts of it that were like a slog, and then parts of it that didn't make sense. But overall, I was like, I had a good time with it. And by the end, I was engaged enough to know that I wanted to read the sequel, but not enough that I wanted to buy like the really pretty edition that I think Illumicrate is putting out, because it matches the first book. So, not that much, but I am excited to see what happens. I really hope that the series like keeps improving, because if this book is better than the second book, then I'll definitely finish the series. If this one is just like, okay, then I probably won't be as excited. But I am excited to see what happens. I like Tahara Mafi's writing. I liked the original Shatter Me series. That's all I've read from her. I have not read the follow-up to that series because I'm like worried it'll like ruin my nostalgia. But no, it was good. It just wasn't great. So I'm excited to see if the second one gets better. All right, and the final one coming out on the 7th is Stone Blind. And this is by Natalie Haynes. And this is actually a Greek mythology Medusa retelling. And I am so excited. The story of Medusa has always been very sad to me. Like, it's depressing and it's sad. And I'm very excited to see how, you know, the story of Medusa is spun. I really like the fact that, like, reading through the synopsis, it made it seem like they're really going to focus on Medusa's story and how she's not really a villain, or she was forced to be a villain in the story when she did absolutely nothing wrong and nothing to like deserve her fate. It says that she is the only mortal in a family of gods. Growing up with her sisters, she quickly realizes she's the only one who gets older, experiences change, and feels weakness. Her mortal lifespan gives her an urgency her family will never know. When desire pushes a god to commit the unforgivable, Medusa's mortal life is changed forever. Her punishment is to be turned into a gorgon. Sharp teeth, snakes for hair, and a gaze that will turn any living creature to stone. Appalled by her own reflection, Medusa can no longer look upon anything she loves without destroying it. She condemns herself to a life of solitude in the shadows to limit her murderous rage. That is, until Perseus embarks on a fateful quest to fetch the head of a gorgon. This is the story of how a young woman became a monster and how she was never really a monster at all. If you know about the story of Medusa at all, I think that this is going to be a really good one and pretty hard-hitting. All right, next we have some books coming out on the 14th of February. The first one I'll just cover really quick because I know a lot of people are excited about that, and that is Tyranny of Faith, and it's by Richard Swan. This is actually the sequel to Justice of Kings. I have not read that one yet, but I know a lot of people are super excited, so I just kind of wanted to mention it in here. I want to read the first book, but at this time I just haven't. And the last one coming out on the 14th is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, and this is by Rajani Chokshi. It says that it is a sumptuous Gothic-infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. And it is supposedly Rajani Chokski's adult debut. Her other books have been YA. I have the Gilded ones, still haven't read it. Really want to. The Gilded Wolves. Sorry, not the Gilded Ones. This one really does sound really cool. It says, once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman named Indigo Maxwell Castindada. He was a scholar of myths. She was heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed they would live happily ever after. In exchange for her love, Indigo extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. But when Indigo learns that her estranged aunt is dying and the couple is forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams, the bridegroom will soon find himself unable to resist. For within the crumbling manor's extravagant rooms and musty halls, there lurks the shadow of another girl, Azure, Indigo's dearest childhood friend who suddenly disappeared. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the bridegroom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens to destroy their marriage or their lives. That really does sound cool. It sounds very, haunting and, curses and fairy tale, and I love that. All right, and then we have 3 that are coming out on the 21st of February. The first one of those is The Magician's Daughter by H.G. Perry. It is 1912, and for the last 70 years, magic has all but disappeared from the world. Yet magic is all Biddy has ever known. Orphaned in a shipwreck as a baby, Biddy grew up on Hill, Brazil, a legendary island off the coast of Ireland, hidden by magic and glimpsed by rare travelers who return with stories of wild black rabbits and a lone magician in a castle. To Biddy, the island is her home, a place of ancient trees, sea salt air, and mysteries. And the magician, Rowan, is her guardian. She loves both, but as her 17th birthday approaches, she's stifled by her solitude and frustrated by Rowan's refusal to let her leave. He himself leaves almost every night, transforming into a raven and flying to the mainland, and never tells anyone where he goes. One night, Rowan fails to come home from his travels. When Biddy ventures into his nightmares to rescue him, she learns not only where he goes every night, but the terrible things that happen in the last days of magic that caused Rowan to flee to High Brazil. Rowan has powerful enemies who threaten the safety of the island. Biddy's determination to protect her home and her guardian takes her away from the safety of her island and to the poor houses of Whitechapel, a secret castle beneath the London streets, the ruins of an ancient civilization, and finally to a desperate chance to restore lost magic. But the closer she comes to answers, the more she comes to question everything she's ever believed about Rowan, her origins, and the cost of bringing magic back into the world. It sounds really good. I'm pretty sure it's also a standalone, so very exciting. All right, the next one coming out on the 21st is Arch Conspirator by Veronica Roth. So this is an Antigone reimagining. Outside the last city on Earth, the planet is a wasteland. Without the archive where the genes of the dead are stored, humanity will end. Passing into the archive should be cause for celebration, but Antigone's parents were murdered, leaving her father's throne vacant. As her militant uncle Creon rises to claim it, all Antigone feels is rage. When he welcomes her and her siblings into his mansion, Antigone sees it for what it really is, a gilded cage. where she is captive as well as guest. But her uncle will soon learn that no cage is unbreakable, and neither is he. I mean, we all know Veronica Roth can write a dystopian. Let's just hope that she nails the ending on this one, if you know what I mean. All right, and the last one coming out on the 21st is Nocturne, and this is by Alyssa Weiss. This one sounds really like cool and weird because it features ballet, and that's really exciting. I have never been a dancer, but my best friend was. My best friend's mom owns a dance shop, and I actually used to work for that shop. So I know a little bit about like dance and ballet and that whole world. So I'm excited to read this. It says it is a haunting and lyrical fantasy set in 1930s Chicago. A talented ballerina finds herself torn between her dreams and her desires when she's pursued by a secretive patron who may be more than he seems. Growing up in Chicago's Little Sicily in the years following the Great War, Grace has always wanted to be a ballerina, ever since she first peered through the windows of the Near North Ballet Company. So when Grace is orphaned, she chooses the ballet as her home, imagining herself forever ensconced in a transcendent world of light and beauty so different from her poor immigrant upbringing. Years later, when the Great Depression is in full swing, Grace has become the company's new prima ballerina, though achieving her long-held dream is not the triumph she once envisioned. Time and familiarity have tarnished that shining vision, and her new position means the loss of her best friend in the world. Then she attracts the attention of the enigmatic Master La Rosa as her personal patron and realizes the world is not as small or constricted as she has come to fear. Who is her mysterious patron, and what does he want from her? As Grace begins to unlock the Master's secrets, she discovers that there is a beauty in darkness as well as light, finds that true friendship cannot be broken by time or distance, and realizes there may be another way entirely to achieve the transcendence she has always sought. Again, it just sounds really cool. And the cover is stunning. All right, now finally, we have some releases coming out on the 28th of February. The first of that is Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This is a, I think, companion sequel to Priory of the Orange Tree. I have not read Priory of the Orange Tree yet. I own it. I plan to read it. I just haven't gotten to it. So I don't plan on like reading the synopsis just in case this kind of spoils anything, because I don't want to know, but just know that this is like a companion sequel following, I believe, some different characters in the same world as Priory of the Orange Tree. Also super exciting, we have The Adventures of Amina al-Sharifi, and this is by S.A. Chakraborty. I loved Daevabad, so I'm very excited for anything that S.A. Chakraborty puts out, so I really didn't need to know much, but I'm pretty sure it's pirate fantasy. It says, this is a new trilogy of magic and mayhem on the high seas, a tale of pirates and sorcerers, forbidden artifacts, and ancient mysteries, in one woman's determined quest to seize a final chance of glory and write her own story. So yeah, it is a pirate fantasy by S.A. Chakraborty. It just sounds really cool. I love pirates and pirate fantasy, so I'm sold. And then we have another one that sounded really cool, and that is The Wicked Bargain, and this is by Gabe Cole Novova. And it says, El Diablo is in the details in this Latinx pirate fantasy starring a trans-masculine, non-binary teen with a mission of revenge, redemption, and revolution. Okay. Another pirate fantasy? Sign me up. And the final February release is Nightbirds, and this is by Kate J. Armstrong. I actually have a physical arc of this somewhere over there in my mess of book stacks, and I'm going to try to get to it, but I can't promise. It says, in a dazzling new fantasy world full of whispered secrets and political intrigue, the magic of women is outlawed, but 4 girls with unusual powers have the ability to change it all. I like outlawed magic. I don't know why. That is just one of those things that I absolutely love. I love when it's like magic is banned or there's no magic anymore and like somebody has to bring it back. Like I love that storyline. So I'm excited for this one. All right. Well, those are all of my super anticipated releases for the month of February. Let me know what books you're excited about. And if you know of any self-pub, indie pub books that are coming out, also in February or any month during the year, let me know because I want to really start including those and make sure those are in both my blog posts and my videos because I know that those self-published books need more hype and I feel like including them in my anticipated releases will, I don't know, do some good. Maybe. At least let some people know about them that haven't heard about it, right? All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. My name is Jessie and I will talk to you next time. Bye.